What's up, guys? Jeremy here from Digital Traffic Ace. I've got my coffee and I'm excited to share this case study with you today. The 5-step blueprint we use to take a brand new Shopify store from zero to nearly 5,000 per day in revenue using only USA suppliers. Now, if you've been involved in the e-commerce and the drop shipping world, you probably are very familiar with the typical model of using AliExpress and drop shipping from China. And it's definitely a viable model. But today I want to talk to you about how you can kind of take that to the next step and use USA suppliers to get your customers their items faster, which makes customer service better, which makes it easier to sell more products to those same customers and run a more efficient business. All right, so let's get ready to dive in, get some paper out, maybe a pen, and be prepared to take notes because we are going to cover a lot today. So what we're going to cover in the next 45 minutes or so is how we launched a Shopify store from scratch and got it to nearly 5,000 per day in revenue using only USA suppliers. And please note, we won't be showing our exact store and products. There is a lot of intelligent people out there, just like you, who can go out and they can create a similar store and sell similar products. And we are not trying to create any direct competitors. I know some people will say, oh, if you can't share your store, then you don't have a business. And if you feel that way, that's fine. But what we will be doing is we're going to be showing the exact strategy we use to find the product and how we scaled it up. All right, so we're going to show you everything that we did. We're just not going to show you the exact store and product, but I will be showing you a lot of examples of exactly what we did so you can see it in this case study. We're also going to discuss how it's easier than you think to find good USA suppliers. I'll actually show you a couple different ways. And then at the end, we'll talk about a chance to work with our team and do the same for your business. So this case study is for you if you want the income potential that a drop shipping e-commerce store can provide, and you want the freedom that a drop shipping e-commerce store can provide, and you want the ease of starting and running an e-commerce store without worrying about tons of upfront cost and buying inventory. But you want all that, but you want to do it while avoiding as many headaches as possible, like long shipping times from China, tons of customer service, people asking where's my order, and trying to sell the same quote-unquote hot selling product that everybody else is selling. Now, before I dive into the content, you need to know who you're listening to. That good-looking man on the right is me, and if you are not a subscriber of Digital Traffic Ace or a customer, I always joke about this anytime I do a training. I had my wife take this picture at a wedding so I could use it in situations like this. No joke, was dressed up for a wedding, and I said, hey babe, take my phone, take a picture of me. I need a picture that when I'm doing trainings, a picture of me like pointing in different directions, so it'll look, good on training calls like this. So that is exactly how that picture came to be. I don't know, kind of a funny story, but I know you want to move on to some important stuff about me. So I have had a marketing, education, and software company for almost 7 years now. Very proud of that. Built a big following in the Facebook advertising world. People say that I cracked the code when it comes to Facebook targeting. Released a lot of courses on not only targeting, but Facebook scaling. And that's pretty much was my entry point into the Facebook world. I have been heavily involved in 4 e-commerce startups. So these are businesses that I would say I was involved in as far as the advertising and maybe the product selection and things like that. Not just, customers of mine or people that I've talked to. And 2 of those have turned into 7-figure stores and 2 turned into 6-figure stores. So very proud of that as well. And at Digital Traffic Ace, we have thousands of subscribers and customers, including hundreds we've helped launch their own e-commerce businesses, and some that I'm proud to say have turned into their own 6 and even 7-figure stores. And just like any good and honest entrepreneur, I've had my share of failures too. It is not all roses. I've launched products that were duds. I'm talking about information products and e-commerce products. And you can learn more about my journey getting started with my marketing agency and then expanding into information marketing and all that good stuff at digitaltrafficace.com/whyjeremy. Now, quick story, fancy screenshot here of a store that we had that crushed during a recent Q4 period. Now, Q4, as we all know, the busiest buying season of the year. And that's a lot, over $1 million in a couple months is pretty impressive, right? I don't care who you are or how big your numbers are. That's a lot of sales in a short period of time. So you would think that's great, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Making that much revenue is great and very profitable. And drop shipping from Chinese suppliers is still a viable model. And that's actually primarily what we did during that Q4. So this is not me knocking drop shipping from China at all, because we've done it, we taught it, and many others still have great success with it. And in fact, if you're just starting out or you're just slowly testing products, that's still a great way to get started. Okay, it's very easy. There's a lot of apps that make it very easy. So it's a way that you can get started very quickly. And so this is not me knocking that at all. I just want to make that clear. So there is something I learned though during that experience, and it's that drop shipping from China in high volume has its fair share of headaches. So you're likely familiar with them if you've been involved in e-commerce in any way. There's long shipping times. Sometimes the orders just vanish, right? They just, oh yeah, we shipped it, but somehow it didn't get there. There's a lot of customer service. People want to know, where's my order? When's it getting here? And that's because of the long shipping times. You may have things like chargebacks because people don't get their orders fast enough. Maybe PayPal freezes your account for some reason. And even nowadays, I've noticed on Facebook, when you run ads for products, a lot of times people will ask in the Facebook comments, they'll say, where's this ship from? And that makes me think that people have bought on Facebook before. And because of that, maybe they got a product from China and now they're asking, where does this come from? And even though we had a ton of success, I learned these lessons the hard way during the busiest buying season of the year. So I would say that because when you're having so much success in a Q4, and all these issues are magnified. If you talk to any e-commerce entrepreneur who has had success in Q4 drop shipping from China, they will tell you that they learned a lot about shipping times and customer service and chargebacks and lots of issues that present themselves because you're doing such high volume at that time of the year. So from that point forward, I slowly set out to find ways to eliminate many of these problems. Now, it wasn't something that happened overnight. I just said, hey, it'd be cool if there was a way to avoid a lot of these headaches. I was constantly learning more and more about working with USA suppliers and how to incorporate that into my business. So basically what I wanted to do is I wanted the ease of drop shipping, right? We talked about the income potential, the freedom, not having to buy inventory up front. I wanted all that, but without the headaches of overseas suppliers. Okay, and again, nothing wrong with working with overseas suppliers. It just presents some things that you have to deal with, right? And I wanted to avoid that if I could. So when I set out to find USA suppliers, I was worried about things like, well, if I do use USA suppliers, won't my margins shrink and be so small that I'll be unprofitable? Or I worried that I'd have to go through lots of paperwork and strike deals with big companies only, like I couldn't find drop shippers that were easy to work with. Or I worried that I couldn't maybe even find USA drop shippers and I'd have to order in bulk. So I didn't even know if I could drop ship. So the good thing is, along this journey of several months of research, I learned a lot. And what I learned was pretty amazing. So here's what I learned in a nutshell. I learned that the playing field has been leveled more and more over the years. So many of the products you might be drop shipping from China today are actually available from USA suppliers for the same price, or even just a tad bit more, but not so much that it makes you, the margins shrink so much. And we'll talk more about that. Even better than that, there's tons of great products on sites like eBay and Etsy and other sites that you can find, products that you won't even find on popular dropshipping sites like AliExpress. So that gives you an instant edge when selling products. And today, I'm going to share all of this in the 5-step blueprint case study. Now, before we start and I dive into step number 1, you need to understand one very important concept. This is something that I go over with all of our e-commerce students and just anybody who's in business in general. And it's that none of this is possible. So what we've done with this and just succeeding with e-commerce or an online business or any business is not possible without the right mindset. So we all have that friend, maybe it's even you, where we expect things to just happen naturally and easily. So maybe you have that friend who decides they want to get in shape. And maybe this has even been you. And for a week, let's say 7 days, they're eating salads every day and grilled chicken and they cut out sweets and everything like that. And they're going to the gym every day, right? And then a week goes by and they expect to be in really great shape, or they expect to see results right away, when in fact, it may take months and months to see results. Now, the second thing is they assume because they go to the gym for a certain period of time that they're done, that they don't have to basically, okay, I go to the gym for a few months and then that's it. But the reality is you have to continue going to the gym. You have to continue eating healthy in order to stay in shape, all right? And business kind of works the same, all right? So you have to remember you're building a real business. It takes work, it takes discipline, patience, and the ability to come face to face with challenges and embrace them, all right? But this is actually a good thing, all right? Just like working out, by the way. So just like if you were to go on the street and or go to the beach, and if you looked around, you would notice that the majority of people are not in great shape. They don't have six packs, they don't have big muscles, right? And that's because if it were easy to achieve that type of body, then everybody would just do it. Everybody would be able to do it. They would just go to the gym and go through the motions or whatever. But with business, if it were easy to succeed, then everybody would do it. Everybody would just put up a store, make sales, and live happily ever after. But if that were the case, the opportunity would not be there because it would be so easy, everybody could do it, and the opportunity would not exist. That's why you have to actually be excited about the work and embrace it and the challenges involved, because for every 100 people who set out to build a successful e-commerce store, there's a huge majority of them that once they hit their first challenge, they're going to quit. So if you hit challenges and you step over them and keep going, you instantly give yourself an advantage over everybody else. And that's one thing I want you to keep in mind as we go through the case study today. Now, another thing is because it's the internet, and the internet tends to lend itself to lots of hype, you've got to get the get-rich-quick nonsense out of your mind. Okay, so let me say that starting an internet-based business can be very powerful and lucrative. Things can happen quickly, but you can't go into it with that mindset. You need to focus on learning, making progress, and building skill sets that can benefit you long-term. Okay, don't look at this as a quick cash grab. I'm going to make some money building an e-commerce store. Just look at it as building your skill sets and getting up something that can produce income long-term. Another thing is you have to realize that spending money on your business is mandatory, not optional. I see people post all the time, hey, how can I start an e-commerce business or a dropshipping business without any money up front or with only $100? And it's just not realistic. There's other things that you can do instead of that, all right? So you're going to be spending money on Facebook ads, testing products, on store expenses and other stuff. Now, it's Facebook ads especially, because this is a great investment into your business because you're going to be testing products and you're going to be gathering data with those ads. And also, rather than looking at it as an expense as you're testing products, you want to look at it as an investment, because the more products that don't work, that means you're getting closer to finding a winning product, okay? If you keep testing products, you're going to find what works and what doesn't. And when you do find a winning product, you can make back all the money you spent testing and much, much more very quickly. Okay, one good product can be the backbone of a 6- or 7-figure e-commerce store. Just took a sip of coffee there. All right, now finally, you want to have the mindset of passion and wanting to seize opportunity. All right, so before I get into this, I want to say how amazing it is that you can create a new business with the internet and how quickly it can be done. Okay, to me, that is awesome. So you have to have the mindset of passion and wanting to seize opportunity, because in life, there are always opportunities that present themselves, and you really have to look at them. So for some people, the .com era, dot-com boom presented itself to some entrepreneurs. And to some people, they took advantage of the frozen yogurt craze, and they opened up these frozen yogurt stores and made a lot of money. Or for some people, it's maybe when the gluten-free kind of came out, they opened up a meal planning service that was gluten-free, right? So sometimes opportunities present themselves, and we're living in a time when you can literally get a business up very quickly with the internet. So you want to have that passion and want to seize the opportunity and say, you know what, I want to do something special because in this day and time I can. All right. Now, I'm going to dive into step number one, but there's two questions I get a lot, and I want to address them now because you're going to have these questions by the end of the case study. So let's just go ahead and knock them out of the way. Question number one is e-commerce saturated? And I think this is a great question. And you probably think I'm going to say no. And truthfully, the answer is no. But let me point something out to you that you may miss. Okay, you have to remember that what you're doing in your day-to-day life is always going to seem magnified. So if you're constantly in Facebook groups about e-commerce and on email lists about e-commerce, in attending webinars or watching case studies like this about e-commerce, then naturally in your mind it's going to seem like everybody's doing e-commerce. But I promise you, if you were to go and walk down the street and ask 1,000 people, say, hey, have you ever heard about putting up a Shopify store and putting in some products and running Facebook ads and making sales and drop shipping? First of all, they probably would look at you like you're crazy. Be like, what are you talking about? All right. And secondly, they would have no clue what you're talking about. So that's important to remember, that because we're in this bubble of the internet, well, it seems like everything is magnified. We think everybody creates online courses, and we think everybody has an e-commerce store. All right. Just like if you were in the fitness world and you hung around people that worked out and ate all the time and did trainings, you would kind of assume that that's just the world, that's what people do. But it's because you're surrounded by it so much daily that it seems more saturated than it really is, when really it's like 0.00001, if even that, percent of the population is actually doing this. Now, to answer more specifically, the answer is yes and no. So what I mean by that is, if you're trying to sell the same products everyone else is selling, and doing things the same way everyone else is doing them, then you may feel that, yes, it is saturated. Or if you have a short-term view, you're just trying to sell cheap products and you don't really care about anything but making fast cash, then yeah, you may find it difficult to succeed with e-commerce and get the feeling that it's saturated. And like I said earlier, if you give up at the first sign of a challenge and you think, I knew this wouldn't work, then perhaps, yes, you might come to the conclusion that e-commerce is saturated. All right, that's called confirmation bias. So if you go into it and you say, this probably isn't going to work, but let me give it a shot, then the first time you test products and they don't work and you don't make sales, or the first little obstacle you run into, you're going to say, aha, I knew this wouldn't work. All right, that's confirmation bias. Okay, if you have the mindset that it's not going to work and that it's saturated, then you're going to probably come to that conclusion at some point. But if you're willing to adapt, have a long-term view, and actually want to build a business, e-commerce is far from saturated. And if you understand that all businesses involve investments of time and money, then e-commerce is far from saturated. And if you understand that most people give up at the first sign of a challenge, like I just discussed, meaning if you don't, you instantly increase your odds of success, then you'll find that e-commerce is far from saturated. And in fact, it's just in its infancy. All right, we can see here just some quick screens. E-commerce will make up 17% of all U.S. retail sales by 2022. We can see here online sales revenue on Thanksgiving and Black Friday. This is 2008 to 2017. You can see it going up and up every single year. And on Black Friday 2017, we can see here on the right, U.S. online revenues amounted to $2.36 billion, okay? Billion, up from $1.97 billion the previous year. CNBC says Cyber Monday becomes the largest online shopping day in U.S. history. 6.59 billion, according to Adobe Insights. a 16.8% increase from a year ago. This is talking about 2017. And mobile sales reached $2 billion over a 24-hour period. All right, think about that. So imagine $2 billion in sales from now until this time tomorrow. That's basically what happened. All right, pretty incredible. And Forbes shows that 51% of Americans prefer online shopping, with e-commerce growing 23% year over year. And what all this growth has led to is what Forbes calls the #1 trend, which is entrepreneurial e-commerce breakout. And they state that e-commerce will be more important than ever in 2018, and it's incredibly easy to get started. So expect to see an influx of e-com entrepreneurs ready to get their digital feet wet. And then the quote here, it's never been easier to launch your own online store, find a product to sell, or start an advertising campaign. And in the near future, we'll see even more aspiring entrepreneurs breaking through into the world of e-commerce who may not have had the means to do so previously. And we're already seeing that, okay? You've probably already seen lots of people doing that. But this just illustrates that e-commerce is in its infancy. And because of this e-commerce boom, well, it benefits us as marketers as well. So, for example, on Facebook, you can target things like engaged shoppers. And if you see here on the right for description, this is people who have clicked on the call to action button, shop now, in the past week. So, you know, when you run ads and you have a shop now button, well, because Facebook has so much data on how people interact on their platform, that they can say, okay, now we have an audience of people who click the shop now button. So you can target this audience, whether you do it at the beginning of your ads or once you get some data. But it just illustrates the point that as e-commerce becomes bigger and bigger, not only does it make it easier for entrepreneurs to get started, but it also makes it easier for us as entrepreneurs and marketers to reach our target audience. Now, second question, and then we're going to dive right into step #1. I get this question all the time. Is it better to create a general store or a niche store? Now, let me say that for this case study, the store we created is more niche specific, although it's not really a niche store, and I call it a hybrid store, and I'm going to explain that right now. So either a general store or a niche store can work, but I've always said a general store gives you more flexibility because you can test all types of products. Now, a niche store does allow you to focus on a certain segment and audience type, which allows for easier branding, but you can always start with a general store. And once you find a product selling well, you can then turn that general store into a niche store, or you can just build a niche store around the winning product you found in the general store. Okay, and then you always have the option to stick with a general store and hit multiple niches. You can think of a site like Zappos that sells all types of products. So both can work, although general does give you a little bit more flexibility. But let me tell you why I mentioned the word hybrid. Okay, so what we did is, what if you could have the best of both worlds? So think of it like this, where a general store has all types of products, from cell phone cases to office items, kitchen gadgets, and outdoor apparel. And think of a niche store that only has one type of product, perhaps home office. So everything that you might need or want for a home office. Now, either of those can work, but what if you did a hybrid? And the hybrid would be home products. So this could include items for a home office, like we talked about above, but also could include items for a playroom, a man cave, a kitchen, a guest room, the outside of a house, and things like that. So you may still think that that's a niche store, but it's really not so niche that you lock yourself in. It's a hybrid. It's sort of niche, but it's actually sort of general too. It's not so general that it includes everything, but it's not so niche that you limit your option. It's a hybrid and can stay a hybrid, or you can always make it even more niche specific if you choose to down the road based on what products are selling well. Another example to quickly illustrate what a hybrid store would be, again, a general store has all types of products. A very specific niche store would be fishing products, all things related to just fishing. And then the hybrid of that would be maybe outdoor enthusiasts. So it could include fishing like the niche store, but it also could include camping, hiking, biking, running, walking, gardening, do-it-yourself. So again, you may say, well, outdoor enthusiasts is a niche store. Yeah, in a way it is, but in a way it isn't, because it can be very general too. That's why we call it a hybrid. Okay, so if you're kind of going back and forth on the best type of store, I would say a hybrid store can work very well. All right, now very important, do not overthink the little stuff. So many times people think the domain is super important. You want it to be catchy and brandable, but don't overthink that. Do not overthink your logo. Just get up a nice looking store. I always tell the story of one of our students who got a store to almost $50,000 a month in just 6 weeks, and his domain had a spelling error. And what that tells us is that people don't care as much as you think they do. Kind of like when you're dancing at a wedding like this guy, right? You just assume that everybody's watching you and everybody cares and everybody's picking apart every little aspect of your dancing, when in fact, people are more concerned with themselves and with other things, and the store kind of works the same way. Yes, you want it to look good. Yes, you want it to be trustworthy so people want to buy, but do not overthink all the little stuff. Now, with that said, are you ready to dive into the 5-step blueprint we use to take a brand new Shopify store from 0 to nearly 5,000 per day in revenue using only USA suppliers? And I'm assuming the answer is yes. I thought so. So let's go ahead and dive in. All right, step number 1. This is going to be a mindset shift for many of you. And this is maybe the biggest breakthrough you have when it comes to finding good products to sell in your store. Now, step number 1 of our case study of what we did is, and what I can relay to you is, don't find product ideas, find ideas for products. So again, big little mindset shift there. It's like, may take you a second to catch on. So let me explain. All right, it's like kind of wondering what I'm talking about here. So let's dive in. All right, so what does don't find product ideas, find ideas for products mean? Well, remember just a minute ago, we talked about adapting if you want to succeed long-term and doing things a bit differently than everybody else. This is a perfect example because most people, when they're doing e-commerce and drop shipping, they go out and they search for product ideas. And this can work great. So don't get me wrong, you can go out and find lots of good products. But what we did, and what I think you might find useful, is finding ideas for products because it can work even better. So if you're confused what I mean by that, I'm about to show you a cool way you can do this right now, and then you can follow along. You can actually pick an idea as we're on this case study and follow along, and then step 2, step 3, etc. And then who knows, by the end of this case study, you may have a couple different products that you can be testing. All right, so I'm going to show you exactly what we did. All right, so currently I'm here in Google, and what I mean by finding ideas for products is, instead of going out and looking for specific products, there's lots of ways to find ideas, and Google is a good one. So with Google, if you just go in and you type in passionate about, and then you just start typing in letters, you'll be pretty amazed at what you find. Just typing this in, we found archery and baking and learning and music and family. But if you start adding in even more letters, all right, and then you can add in a second letter. So we got writing and publishing. And what I did was, for this example, wine. So I think I did W-I and I found wine. Yeah. So that's kind of a step number 1. You don't have to use Google. I'm going to show you some other tools you can use. And you may even have a keyword that you already know of and that you want to use. All right. But if you just go in and type passionate about and just start typing in some letters. So we got landscaping and law and foreign languages. And I don't want to go on for too long. Pooches. Not exactly sure. All right. Problem solving, programming, property. Vintage, vinyl. There's just tons of stuff, okay? This is just one way. Now, what I found was wine, okay? And the next thing you can kind of do is there's this tool called Ubersuggest. This is a tool that Neil Patel recently purchased. And there's also a tool called Answer the Public. And basically you can put in a keyword. And so I put in wine here. When you put in the keyword, it gives you all the questions people ask about wine, like are wine glasses recyclable, or Are wine bars profitable? Are wine grapes good to eat? There's all this stuff that people ask, and there's tons of different things here. And then you can actually go down here and look at keywords that can give you ideas for products like winemaking kit, wine mom, winemaking process, right? And this is just one keyword, okay? I just typed in the word wine, and I typed it in here too, so you can see some search volume. But you could even start here. Rather than starting in Google, you could just come here and just type in a keyword, okay? Anything. Now, next thing is you can just kind of look for ideas. And what I found, and let me see if I can find it here, is, there it is. I saw wine kitchen decor. I said, okay, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good idea. Wine kitchen decor. So people who want some cool wine stuff for their kitchen. So again, I'm not going out and just looking at random products. I'm finding ideas. All right. So let's keep that in mind here. Okay, wine kitchen decor. And then if I wanted, I could go over to Uber Suggest and put in kitchen to filter my results. And I can see here, wine kitchen decor, according to this, shows about 3,600 searches per month. Pretty consistent over time. You can see lots of searches. So again, you don't have to find that this search volume is high, but it is kind of cool to see that, you know, it's something people search for. And it's a passion thing, right? Wine, people like wine. So again, I've got an idea here. Now, you can do the same thing real quick. Maybe go to Google, and if you want to pause this case study and type in passionate about, or just go in here and put in a keyword. And then again, you can just see, if I clear the filter here, you can just see what pops up. All right, anything may pop up. And again, this is just one keyword here. You don't have to use wine. You can use anything you want. Also here, you can find all types of stuff like wine yoga, whatever. That's going to be very important when you find these ideas for the next step. All right, so let's go back into the case study. Okay, so now you've got some great starting points for your product research. All right, so what I just showed you is exactly how we started out finding ideas for products and for products that we wanted to sell using USA suppliers. And you've got some angles you can take, because when you have ideas, you have angles. For example, it's not just wine, it's wine kitchen decor, right? That's a pretty unique angle, okay? So you're not just targeting wine in general, you're targeting kitchen decor as well. And by doing this, you're more likely to find product ideas that others have not. And more importantly, you know, you're avoiding products without even trying that maybe others are already running ads for, because you're kind of finding some different stuff by using ideas. All right, and that's exactly how we found our winning product. The steps I just showed you there about finding a seed word, putting it in, and then looking at what people search for related to that is exactly how we found the winning product that we got up to nearly $5,000 per day in revenue using USA suppliers only, okay? So just what I showed you is a great way to find products, but let's take it a step further, because I told you to jot down a couple ideas you found, because I want you to do this as I go along and tell you how we did it. And you're going to want those ideas as we move on to step 2, because step 2 is now we go and we find products. Now remember, this is normally step 1 for most people. They just go out and look for products, but since you're approaching it differently, you've got a plan once you reach this point. All right, so let's pick an idea from step 1 and then go out and search. So again, this is exactly what we did to find our bestseller. Okay, so take one of the ideas you have from step 1. I'm going to use the wine kitchen decor. That's the example I have set up for this case study. And I want you to take an idea and do the same thing as we go along. All right, now, where are we going to be searching for USA suppliers? I know that a lot of you want to know, are really interested in using USA suppliers. Well, you're likely familiar with AliExpress, so you can definitely look there. But it's going to be a bit different than you're used to. So we don't have time to go into all these. I wish we could, but I don't want to. I want to try and keep this to about 45 minutes to an hour. But on AliExpress, you can simply select that you only want to view items that ship from the United States. You can very well do that. eBay, great selection of US suppliers. Etsy, great selection of unique products from US sellers. There are sites out there. One of them I really like is called Worldwide Brands. You pay a membership, and it basically gives you access. They have a database of vetted um, sellers that will either drop ship or do light bulk, things like that. You can find a lot of really cool products that you cannot find elsewhere. So again, I don't have time to dive into that, but you can check out Worldwide Brands. You can look for sellers on Amazon. You can look on Google, which is very cool. I'll dive into that real quickly. And there's lots of other ways. All right, but let's just go into kind of what we did. All right, let's take a look. We don't have time to go into all of it, but let's just go take a look real quick. Okay, so remember in step one, we identified our idea as wine kitchen decor. Okay, so the next thing you would do is you would come here and to eBay. The next thing we did is we came to eBay and I simply put in a keyword. I put in wine kitchen. Okay, so I want to get a lot of things related to wine in the kitchen. Now there's this Chrome extension called eBay Popularity Sort. It's a free Chrome extension that sorts, when you put in a keyword, it sorts by the most sold. All right, so that's very powerful to have good selling items kind of come to the top. I also have buy it now selected, and I also have US only, where it ships from. So I've accomplished what I want, okay? Now I'm looking for stuff that I feel like is priced in a way that I can mark it up and something that I feel like I could sell on social media or through Facebook ads and things like that. So you got something like this, and I scrolled, and the item that I found that I want to show you, let's keep going here, was this. So I saw elegant anti-slip rubber backing kitchen design rug. So basically it's a kitchen, you know, we talked about kitchen decor, wine kitchen decor. It's a wine kitchen mat, and it's $5.99 with free shipping. It shows 58 sold, or it shows 58 plus sold. But when you click it, we can see almost 200 have been sold. All right, and it's a pretty nice looking kitchen mat, right? So somebody who likes wine may find this useful in the kitchen. So basically $6 with free shipping, coming from Chicago, Illinois. So it comes from the US. Very cool, right? Now, what's cool about this item is once I found this, I realized they had other ones too. They have one for coffee, okay, coffee lovers, of a chef, people who like to cook maybe. So again, to me, the right price, a cool kitchen mat for, let's say, a wine lover. Will it sell? Who knows, okay? I don't know if this could be a good selling product or not. I'm taking you through the steps we use as we found our winning products. Okay, so just like that, remember, we found our idea, wine kitchen decor. We put in wine kitchen. We found a product that ships from the US. And then, of course, you could contact and just explain, you know, you have a store and you're looking to basically drop ship their product. And we found that most eBay sellers are happy to take on additional business. Okay, you may find some that aren't, but we found that most are. Okay, so just like that, we found a way to do it. Now, I can't go into every single way we talked about in that slide on the case study. One thing I can show you, though, is I did go to Amazon and just type in wine kitchen mats, something along those lines. Yeah, wine kitchen mat. And I do see here some, you know, about 15 bucks, 20 bucks, 17 bucks. Got one here that's selling for nearly 30. This one has lots of reviews, and it's selling for about $23. That's a doormat. But I mean, remember, based on pricing on Amazon doesn't mean that you have to sell it for that or less. There's plenty of products that are cheaper on Amazon, but they're impulse buys on Facebook, okay? So just wanted to show you that. Now, I know that some people are gonna ask, oh, well, I don't really know how to come up with a keyword. I don't really want to use Google and type in passionate about, whatever. So for those of you like that, here's other ways to find ideas for products, okay? This is a site called ChinaBrands.com, and I guess it's sort of like AliExpress, although I feel like when you hover over the big categories, you get a lot of mini categories, way more than I feel like you get on AliExpress. So one idea I wanted to show you here is I hovered over home and garden, and I saw something interesting the other day. So home and garden, and then it said toilet seat covers. I was like, okay, toilet seat covers. That's a pretty unique idea. So what I did is I went to eBay and I typed in toilet seat cover. And of course, the popularity sort came up. And I see this product with, it shows over 600 sold. So I clicked it. There's actually quite a bit more sold. Actually over 3,200. And if I wanted, I could click here and I could see, you know, based on the date, I could see how many have sold on the actual date. You know, I can look and see if they're selling recently. All right, and you have to, this one charges shipping, even though it does come from the US, so it's about, I don't know, $6, $7 out the door. But again, pretty unique. It's a toilet seat warmer cover, washable. And if I were to go down here, it's basically a product description that can give you, ideas if you do sell it. You can't afford the expensive electric toilet seat warmer? This is your solution. And basically, it sells the product. Do you dread sitting on your toilet seat, especially in the winter months? Do you experience discomfort or skin soreness around your bottom and thighs? So again, this is actually a pretty good copy, whether for an ad or for a description, and you could contact this seller. And then, of course, you can look down here, and you find some other stuff. You got a 3-piece set of rug, mat, and lid. Okay, I don't know if that's a US seller or not. And then you can sort of expand from there. Again, I can't go too deep into this on just this one case study call, but one thing we do is we also go to see other items. And what's cool is that the Chrome extension will also sort the seller's other items. So check this out. There's actually one I wanted to show you guys. So now it's sorting, maybe it's not from this seller. No, it's not this seller. Okay, now it's going to sort all their items. Looks like this seller has an affinity for toilet seat covers, right? Kind of funny to think about, but obviously they're making some money. If you look at how many they're selling, you can see all their other items. So if this seller is like, yeah, I'm happy to work with you and I'm happy to drop ship for you, then boom, you got other items as well. Okay, so we talked about keyword, popping in eBay to find US sellers for products. We talked about getting ideas like this. You literally hover over a category and you see all these different things. Maybe you're not looking for products, but maybe you just put in home decor, or maybe you put in candle holders or sewing tools, and then you see what pops up. Okay, we're not going to have time to go deep into Etsy or to a site like Worldwide Brands or anything like that, but I did want to show you one more thing you can do, because people ask, well, what are other ways to find drop shippers? So I put this example here because earlier I saw like personalized dog collars, and I thought that was a pretty cool idea, where you can put like the dog, your information, or the dog's information. So all I did is go to Google and type in dog collar plus reseller, because I want to see if I can get a dog collar website that resells their products or allows you to resell. And this popped up: pet retail supply, pet supply distributor, wholesale, and dropship. So you could put in any product or any category plus reseller, or you can do plus dropship, plus drop shipping, and just see what comes up. And, look, they have a dropship program. Ship your order straight from the manufacturer, okay? They have all different types of brands. They have dog clothing, dog coats, collars, beds. So, again, you don't have to just use AliExpress to dropship. And these, it's a US supplier. They've got a dropship program. They got 20,000 products. And all I did was go to Google and type in a product name plus reseller. So guys, lots of opportunity. Hopefully this gets your mind churning. I just showed you 3 ways that you can do this. All right, so with that said, let's dive back into the case study. All right, so we just went over 3 ways, and obviously there's a lot more we can do, but our time is limited. But just to give you an idea, there's so many different ways that you can find US suppliers and unique products just by starting out by finding ideas for products. Now, one question you might have, I get this a lot. We just showed you how you can find affordable products and good US suppliers, but you might be asking, well, if I were to do my research, can I just get these products cheaper from China? Can I find these same products cheaper from China? So you might be surprised at how competitive that US suppliers can be. So let's take a look at one particular product I want to show you an example of, and then I want to show you how that can compound on itself to find even more products. So let's do that real quick. Okay, so I'm here on AliExpress, and I was clicking through, and I found This product, it's a popular product. Lots of sellers have sold thousands of units. And it's just basically a cool looking wall clock. And I made sure to show there that shipping from China. And you can see a price between about $9 and $12. Now remember what I talked about earlier, just to quickly show you, you can just simply click United States, and then you're basically working with products that can ship from the US. All right. And you can see here, there are some affordable prices on here as well. So again, you know, it doesn't mean that prices are going to skyrocket. You can actually work on AliExpress shipping from the US as well. Or like we said, you can still do China. Just when you're doing volume and long term, you probably want to do more US fulfillment. But let's just go over this real quick. So, well, this one looks like it changed now, but let's just say $9 to $12 is the range here for a clock, and that's shipping from China. Okay, all I did was go on eBay here, just looking for a similar clock. I typed in wall clock, buy it now, US, and I was trying to find something similar, so I found this one. You can see here it's not exact, but fairly similar. And it's anywhere from basically $13 to $14. It shows 281 plus sold. It's actually up to over 660 now. But again, very similar. Even if I select, let's say the silver, it's $13.58. Okay, so sure, maybe it's a couple more dollars, this particular product, than maybe it's an extra $2 or $2.50 more than if I were to drop ship it from China. But it's coming from Ohio, if this seller was willing to drop ship for me. It's coming from Ohio, which means a US seller, which means that the customer is going to get it quicker, which means they may buy more from you, which means that you could probably even charge like maybe a shipping fee because it's expedited shipping. And they get the item quicker. Maybe they'll buy something more else. You can send them an upsell email. We'll talk about that. There's a lot of advantages to getting it. So the bottom line is what I'm going to tell you in just a moment is that your time and your business are worth more than an extra $2 or $2.50. All right, let me just kind of expand your mind a bit even more. Okay, we talked about earlier how you can just click on see other items. I did this the other day and I saw this right here. And now it's sorting. Remember, it sorts again by their most sold items. So we get more ideas here. Let's go find that item. I really like that item. I thought this was pretty cool. It's a mattress cover, waterproof. I don't really know what it is, but the picture is kind of cool. So I guess it's a mattress cover. It's actually selling right now. It's a mattress cover that makes the bed waterproof. And let's say I have a queen size bed, and I don't know, let's just... So this would be more of like a premium product that you can maybe upsell to customers, or you could just mark it up and maybe sell it for like $39.99 or $44.95 or something like that. But again, this is definitely like a unique social media friendly product. Okay, I can't get that image to pop back up, but it's a pretty cool product. Again, coming from Ohio. Let's just click here. And we can see sales coming in almost every day for it, okay? We can even see the sizes and things like that to kind of give us an idea of which sizes sell the most of. So again, I only found this because I found a US seller for that clock, and then I was able to see other products that seller sells. So again, you can build good relationships and find products that maybe you weren't even initially looking for from your first idea, but you found it because you were working with ideas and not looking for specific products. Okay, so let's go back into the case study. All right, so I told you might be surprised at how close the prices are for a product shipping from China versus a US seller. And what I can tell you is even if it's a bit more when you ship from a US seller versus drop shipping from China, even if it's a bit more, I can promise you your sanity, your reputation, and your business is worth more than a couple bucks. You will make that back by building a business that ships items quicker and that can offer better customer service and all that, and upsell products easier because people aren't waiting 4 weeks for their first product. And email marketing gets better because people are getting their items, so they're more receptive to email offers and things like that. So long term, I can promise you, if you're going to save $2 or $2.50, it's really not worth it to drop ship from China versus the US if that's just the margin, okay? Like I said, the playing field has been leveled more and more over the years. Just to recap on our product research, we showed AliExpress, how you can ship from, do fulfillment from the US using AliExpress. We talked about eBay. That Chrome extension is called Popularity Sort for those wondering. We talked about Etsy. We didn't get a chance to show Etsy, but there's a tool called Etsy Rank. You can look at top Etsy sellers. Worldwide Brands. There's a lot of sites like this, but Worldwide Brands is one I really like. It's pay to play. You pay a couple $100 for membership, but then you get access to all these different suppliers that will drop ship and things like that. And you do need to have a business registered if you're going to use sites like this, because these suppliers are going to want your tax ID and things like that. But if you're taking this serious, you should be registering your business anyway if you haven't already. We didn't even talk about Amazon. You can look at movers and shakers. And then, of course, Google. You can dig around by typing in a keyword, plus reseller or plus dropshipper. Now, other important aspects real quick as we wrap up product research. You want to make sure that the product you select, you can mark up for good margins, like we talked about, okay? You don't want to be working with slim margins or with products priced cheaply. You want high quality products and high quality suppliers, so you want to be looking at the feedback from the sellers and reviews of the product and things like that as well. So just do your homework, make sure what you're selling is good, and that it's okay to sell before diving in. So we talked about finding ideas for products, and then we talked about finding products with those ideas. Step 3, what we did is then you put your products in a properly optimized store. So what does that mean? Well, this is going to be pretty quick and self-explanatory. The store needs to look professional. It needs to look trustworthy while being easy to navigate. All right, so for our particular store in this case study, we don't do anything like countdown timers on the product page or anything like that. So we don't have anything that says, you know, hurry, only 5 left, or sale ends in 2 hours. We don't have anything like that, which I love because I feel like it's classier, it's more professional, it's, you know, a more trustworthy store. That stuff can work. I just am not a fan of it, okay? Tried it in the past and tried to do countdown and saying, you know, this deal is good for at least, you know, the next 2 hours and things like that, and just kind of tested ways to tweak it. But I just like not even having that on the page, just kind of having, you know, your product and your add to cart and a good description, okay? Now, besides good products, you want nice images, you want nice descriptions, you want a phone number on the site, and you want relevant pages like an About Us or a shipping and return details page and things like that, okay? Again, pretty self-explanatory. Now, like I said, I'm not going to show our specific store, but I want to show you 2 examples, one I like and one I don't like, that I think will illustrate what I feel like a good store that converts will look like. So here's the first store, and I know nothing about the store. For all I know, this could be a multi-million-dollar store, okay? I just went to Google and found a couple stores. Now for this one, I just don't like how the product images are here up top, and I don't like how small this is for the color and how you pick your size here, and then how the add to cart button's over here. For me, it's just not what I like. Now I do like how they have all the reviews like this, but it's just, you know, it's just different for me. So again, for all I know, this could be a hugely successful store, but to me, this is not set up the way that I would set up to optimize best. Now here's another store I found. Okay, again, no association with these stores, and I really like how theirs is set up. More traditional with the product right here, good image, your product title, got some reviews, you got your select your variant here, and they've actually got an add to cart and a buy now button, and they've got some good images, good description here, actually probably more than I would say is typical. They got lots of good stuff here, and they actually have a floating add to cart button as well, which is pretty cool. So bottom line, I really like the look at this. If you're trying to figure out, hey, what do I want my store to look like? For me, a product page looks very good like this. It's very clean and what I like. All right, so you found ideas for products. You found some products from those ideas, and then you have a properly optimized store. Now, the next thing we did after we got to that point is we ran what I call burst ads. Okay, this is going to be probably different than what you've heard before. So in step 4, you're probably wondering, what the heck are burst ads? And again, this is just how we did it. This is not how you have to launch your product test. But I want to just tell you exactly what we did to launch this winning products or these in this store. So burst ads are not for the timid, okay? So if you just want to launch $5 and $10 ad sets, that can work. It's a good way to test. Again, I'm just sharing what we did when we found our best-selling product. But a short summary of burst ads is they allow you to quickly determine if something is going to sell or not. So what we did is once we found the idea and then found the product from that idea, is I created about 30 different ad sets. And each ad set was at about $25 of budget per day. Okay, again, you can start smaller, don't worry. That's not the only way to do it. Now, most ad sets only had one interest. And generally that one interest was either was in the range of 400,000 to 2 million people. Now, if I found interests I liked that were smaller, I would kind of group them together by categories, like retailers or blogs or Facebook pages or magazines, things like that. I try to test a variety of interests, just different brands and blogs and magazines, just different niche type interests or interests I think that people would like for that particular product. Just use a nice photo post of the product, some good ad copy. And then what happened is we watched them closely, all right? And you're gonna need to watch closely too if you do this, okay? Because since so many ads are running with a variety of interests, you're gonna notice pretty quick whether the product is gonna be a winner or not. Versus if you're just doing like, you know, let's say 1 or 2 $5 ad sets, well, it's gonna take a couple days to see what happens. But if you're doing it this way, well, pretty quickly, like after half a day or even less, you're gonna see, okay, are some of these ad sets getting sales or some getting add to carts? What we notice is we notice huge engagement right off the bat with a lot of these ad sets. And we notice add to carts coming in off a lot of these ad sets and purchases coming in. Now, of course, not all ad sets were like that, but since we tested so many, we saw a lot of them coming in. Now, if you don't see these signs, if you're not seeing huge engagement, add to carts, and purchases coming in, and you're doing burst ads, well, you may want to start kind of pausing, you know, if you're spending, depending on the price of your product, you know, kind of pausing your ad sets, because since you have so many running at once, if you're not seeing some positive signs, it may just mean that your ad or your product is not appealing, okay? Now, if you were only running 1 or 2 ad sets, again, you would want to give it more time. But with burst ads, you know, you're gonna get some data pretty quickly. Now, this is, again, different from testing smaller budgets, as those need more time to gather data. And remember, either way can work. I'm just sharing what we did. We've done smaller budgets as well. This is just me, after years of experience with Facebook ads and e-commerce, just wanting to launch and quickly find out, hey, look, I think this product is gonna do well. Let's see. Now, beyond burst ads, some other notes for the Facebook ads we ran that I think you're gonna find helpful. Okay, you always wanna make sure that your ad copy is social media friendly. Okay, and what I mean by that is that people are used to seeing certain type of lingo and terms on social media. It's not too formal, it's fun, it's engaging, you have emojis, so make sure your ad copy reflects that. Another thing is, make sure all your ad sets, if you're doing burst ads or just in general, are pointed at the same, not some, at the same post ID. So, okay, so what this means is that the same ad is getting all the engagement versus having like 30 different ads, okay? We also split placements at first. We split mobile, desktop, and auto, but we just found auto placements performed just fine. It wasn't basically worth splitting out based on our test. Okay, and what happens is when we launched these burst ads, we quickly got up to about 500 per day in sales, kept growing from there to nearly 5,000 in a day. And then we actually had to pause ads a couple times to make sure we could keep up with the demand because the store and the product shot up so quickly. Okay, so there's a screenshot of when we almost got up to 5,000 in a single day, and pretty incredible considering we had just launched the product probably a week or 2 prior to that. Not sure the exact date, but it did not take long to scale up. Other quick notes from Facebook ads. You will almost always lose money before making money with Facebook ads. Very rarely, even if your product is a winner, you're still sifting through the bad ad sets as you're testing and then basically building data. You're buying data, which over time will make your Facebook ads account smarter and more profitable. Not to mention, if you're making sales, you're capturing an email list, you're building up custom audiences and more. And all this stuff is going to be very helpful when it comes to step 5. Now, after we did the burst ads and we started noticing all these sales coming in, well, then the next step was profit optimization and next level targeting. And in fact, that's kind of the level that we're at now. We're still doing that. You're always optimizing for profit and next level targeting. Okay, now if you haven't found a product selling well at this point, so if you're going through this process, then obviously you wouldn't be optimizing and expanding because you don't have a product selling well. You'd keep testing products. And in fact, it's good practice to keep testing products even if you do have something selling well. But let's talk about profit optimization for a second. So, like I said, rarely will you be profitable from the start. But what you will notice when a product is selling well is you'll kind of see what's working and you'll start stopping what isn't. And the good news is there's ways to turn something that is losing slightly or even more than slightly or something that's breaking even into a winner, okay? Because obviously that's what the optimization is about. So there's 3 things I want to go over with you that we did and that I think you should do that can basically work wonders from turning a product that's selling well but maybe slightly losing or breaking even into a winner. And those 3 things are retargeting, upsells, and email marketing. Now for our retargeting, basically what we did is anybody who had viewed the product page, who had added to cart, or engaged with any of the posts or the fan page, we retargeted. We tested retargeting people who had did that within the last 5 days and people who did it within the last 10 days. I wanted to do recent audiences. We actually found the last 5 days tended to work better. Okay, you may find something different. You can even do last 3 days, last 30 days. You can test different sizes. Also, you can retarget in different ways. So you can retarget with testimonials. You can retarget with a discount. You can retarget with objection handlers. That works very well and more. So if you're talking objection handlers, you can say, hey, we noticed you viewed the product and you're probably wondering, or whatever, if you think there's going to be an objection, then you can handle it in a retargeting ad. And of course, dynamic product ads are very powerful because it shows people the products that they already viewed or already added to cart. So you tend to get a good ROI on those types of ads. Now, another optimization technique to get profitable or more profitable is upsells. So once someone buys, and especially because if you're using USA suppliers, this works very well. We want to offer them a special deal via email. So, hey, you just bought this, so take advantage of this special offer. You can also use dynamic product ads to upsell or cross-sell additional products. Or even while they're still in the store, there's upsell apps that recommend other products they might also want to buy. Or there's even one-click upsell apps like CartHook. Now, for apps like that, like CartHook and similar apps, they're a bit more advanced. And they're best served when a product is already selling consistently well. And again, you're just looking to maximize your profit. And finally, for optimization, we have email marketing. You obviously want to have an abandoned cart sequence. Also, recommend that when somebody buys, you have like a welcome email introducing your store to new customers. Give them a feel of your style and what you're all about. Also use email to offer new products. It's a great way to test products. Say, hey, look, here's a new item we just got in our store and see if people are buying it. But bottom line with email is you just want to have fun with it. And I love email marketing and I have fun with it in all the businesses I work in. So one thing I like to do that I think is going to be very helpful to you if you struggle with email marketing, what I do is I subscribe to many stores through their email list and I get tons of ideas and inspiration. Okay, one of my current favorites is Edible Arrangements. Edible Arrangements sells like all types of stuff like fruit arrangements and I think flowers and chocolates, all types of stuff. But they send emails, it seems like almost every day. And their emails are always really fun with catchy subject lines and they're not annoying or boring. And actually, I wanted to just show you a couple of them that I really, really like. So this one has a subject line, decisions, decisions. Different subject line than you're used to getting from e-commerce. And basically what it says is it's up to you. And they basically have 2 options, $10 off any order of $39 or more, or $20 off any order of $99 or more. So see how they tied in their subject line with the content in the email? And then another one, this one came right before Valentine's. It says, alert, call off the search. And it says, yes, there's still time. So basically what they're telling you is that you don't have to search for a Valentine's gift anymore, that they have one for you. So again, very catchy subject line. I really like how they do their email marketing. But again, subscribing to other email lists in e-commerce is a great way to get your own ideas. Now, we talked about profit optimization, so let's quickly talk about next level targeting. So what did we do once we had the product selling well and we wanted to expand the audiences we reach? Well, of course, we created lookalike audiences, people who viewed content, people who visited the website, people who added to cart, people who initiated checkout, add payment info, who purchase, who engage, right? Don't limit yourself here. You can create all types of lookalike audiences at different percentages. And then, of course, you can target new interests based off the initial interests that work. You can use Facebook suggestions or you can use audience insights. But the bottom line is don't be lazy. Keep testing, find what works, and shut off what doesn't. All right, as you know, Facebook ads have a lot of randomness to them, meaning you can launch 100 ad sets and they're all going to perform differently. That's why you want to continue testing different things to find what works, and then you can easily just shut off what doesn't. So create different types of ad sets and even test new images, new copy, and keep things fresh. Now, once you're at this point, and what we always do when we get to this point, is you'll obviously want to continue optimizing and expanding, but you also want to look into hiring help for customer service, Facebook page, and comment management, and other tasks. Okay, that's going to be very helpful to you. That's kind of the point that at this particular store where we're at, it's like, hey, I want somebody to respond to Facebook messages and to monitor and respond to comments and to handle customer service. That way I can focus on things that are really going to move the needle, like new ads and new products and things like that. And that's what we'll continue to do as we work to turn this into a long-term, sustainable, and profitable store. All right, now, a little wrap up as we covered the 5 steps we use to launch this store. And just some final takeaways from our experience working only with USA suppliers. And again, I know a lot of you have asked about that, or maybe you've stated, I just don't like drop shipping from China, or you've had bad experiences. So here's some takeaways that I've had working with just USA suppliers. And it's that customer service is almost non-existent. Now, obviously you still have to provide customer service, but when you compare it to drop shipping from China, you're getting less emails and questions about shipping times and things like that, which I really like. We're able to get repeat buyers easier because customers get their items quicker and then are more likely to come back and buy more or even refer friends. We can start promoting upsells and cross-sells sooner to customers because they're getting their items within just a few days. So it's easier to say, hey, look, you just bought this. What about this? Which it's hard to do that when they're waiting 2 to 4 weeks for their initial item. All right? It's also much easier to get testimonials. People come back on the Facebook posts. They say, hey, I only took a couple days, or I love it, right? And it's because it's for various reasons. It's got obviously the product, but also because maybe they don't have to wait as long. Finally, I feel like the USA suppliers have been easier to communicate with and easier to work with in that sense. Again, doesn't mean that Chinese suppliers aren't easy to work with. Just my experience. They seem to want to help sell more products, asking about maybe, hey, look, I have this, or I can create a variation of this. It seems a little bit more easy to work with in that sense. And again, while the margins may be slightly better in China for certain products in some cases, the overall business, the e-commerce business, running it with US suppliers only just feels a bit easier and more effective and more fulfilling. And again, remember, this is the first store we've ever started where we're working just with USA suppliers. So I still have stores that use, have done fulfillment from China and things like that. I'm just sharing the experience from this particular store. But it does seem easier. It does seem easier to basically turn it from just a store making sales to a brand because of all the reasons I just listed. All right, and again, remember, I have nothing against drop shipping from China, and I think it's a great way to start, but I did think that this case study was worth sharing because yes, you can find success drop shipping from USA suppliers. And for long-term stability, I feel like this is the way to go. Whether you start from the beginning doing that, or whether you start from China and then slowly move to US suppliers. All right. Now, just like any business owner who wants to succeed, learning and adapting is vital to stay relevant long term. And that's exactly what we've done here. So we've done it one way before, and then we said, hey, look, how can we make this easier? And we did some research, and then that's what led to this store and this case study. All right, so that is it. That is the exact process we use to take a brand new Shopify store from 0 to nearly 5,000 per day in revenue using only USA suppliers. Now, before we go further, I have a confession to make. And what that confession is I've made some assumptions about you over the last 45 minutes or so. Now, if you've watched this case study, my assumptions are you've likely tried e-commerce or Shopify before. And in fact, you might already have a store up, or you've maybe made some sales. Or my assumption is you might even be brand new. Maybe you've kind of dabbled or watched others and seen them posting their success stories, but you never really dug in, or maybe you tried it quickly and then you just kind of didn't put a lot into it. If so, if you fit into any of those categories and my assumptions are correct, how would you like to work with our team to basically follow this model and build your own successful store using only USA suppliers in the blueprint we discussed today? Over the last few years, myself and my team have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs launch their own e-commerce stores. But we do it a bit differently than you've probably seen before, and I'm very proud of that because we do it with you, okay? So we have a coaching program. It's called the Store Implementation Program. And in that program, we take you through the exact process of building a profitable e-commerce store week by week. And we're constantly updating content, just like, going from drop shipping from China to drop shipping with USA suppliers. Now, in this program, we actually even build your store with you. We help you with product research. We set up your ads with you and a lot more. We have multiple coaches. It's not like it's just me trying to basically run this whole program. We have multiple coaches who are experts in various areas, whether that's ads or tech or store optimization, things like that. And we work with you throughout your whole journey. And I want to repeat, very important, we do it with you, okay? It's not like you're just watching videos. It is a true coaching program where, unlike most programs that just give you content and wish you luck, you actually will have a series of one-on-one coaching calls, even group calls, where we're literally helping you implement each step of the way, all right? And I know that as marketers and entrepreneurs, we tend to procrastinate. Well, we make sure that doesn't happen because we actually have an accountability coach who will literally message, email, call, and annoy you as much as needed to make sure you are completing tasks in a timely manner. And I can tell you this from experience, that accountability is very powerful because it's not, okay, yeah, maybe I'll set up my store this week. It's, hey, you're setting up your store on Tuesday from 2 to 4 p.m. And it's not, oh yeah, I'll set up some ads this weekend. It's, you're setting up your ads on an ad setup call on Friday at 6 p.m., right? So you're scheduling calls like that. So basically, we make it very hard for you to procrastinate, and that accountability is very, very helpful. If you want to learn more about this program, click the button below or go to digitaltrafficace.com/SIP. If you're interested in working with us, what you'll need to do is go and see a little bit about the program and then schedule a call and answer a few questions we have so we can learn a bit more about you. In the meantime, if you weren't on our email list before, you now are, and you're part of the Digital Traffic Ace family. I tend to send emails pretty frequently, full of good stories, good tips on e-commerce, on Facebook ads, and just practical advice for life, business, and entrepreneurship in general. So make sure you open up, get to know me, get to know our team, and reach out if you ever want some help with your business. But I want to thank you for taking time to watch this case study. It was fun to put together. Hopefully it helped you and you got some aha moments when it comes to finding ideas for products, then finding products, getting them into an optimized store, running ads, and then optimizing and expanding on your targeting. All right, so thanks again for watching. And if you want to work with our team, digitaltrafficace.com /SIP.